Welcome to Political Beatdown. I'm Ben Meiselas, joined by Michael Cohen. We've got a lot to discuss today. We'll talk about Trump's losses in the various stages of appeals in New York to try to derail that criminal conviction sentencing, which is set to take place in approximately 24 hours. He lost at the trial court level, at the appellate division, and then as well at New York's highest court, which is called their Court of Appeals. We should talk about how Elon Musk gave an interview saying that Doge actually won't be able to cut $2 trillion from the budget. Perhaps it'll be $1 trillion, perhaps it will be less, but definitely not $2 trillion. So just more promises being broken each and every day. But we have a lot of, we should talk about people in the international community standing up to Donald Trump. We've seen stronger words from France and Germany, the president of Mexico standing up, Canadians, leaders in Canada, Denmark, after the stunt that Don Jr. pulled in Greenland. But we should start, Michael Cohen, with just addressing what's going on right now in
Well, I
Florida.
think first of all, I want to say, to those of you who follow me on other of my social media platforms, just as soon as yesterday, I woke up at 4 a.m. and I was already texting Ben to make sure that he and his family, I must have 100 friends in that LA area, as you may all know, but Ben is from and lives in that California area. And I'm very thankful, as I'm sure you all see him, that is not AI. He is not a robot, right, Ben? Lift your hands. Let's show them that you're not a robot. There you go. All right. He's not a robot. I'm thankful, and I'm sure so are all the brigaders, that you and the family and your newborn baby little girl, that everybody's all safe. I've spoken to about close to 100 of my friends now. And I'm thankful that, some of them lost their homes and they're now living, with relatives, siblings, parents, or staying at a hotel far away. Literally, they went east, and as far east as they can get to get the hell away from, from that LA wildfire area. But I think the real issue, again, now that we're thankful for you being safe and others being safe, I think the real elephant in the room here are the comments, this grotesque series of comments that Trump and acolytes are making, whether it's Jesse Water or what's his name, Jimenez. I don't understand. I really don't. And, you being from that area, obviously, like so many others, we're watching in horror as what's going on here. And when somebody's down, and it's not relevant whether you're Republican, a Democrat, or an independent, or that you just choose not to be affiliated at all, to be this heartless, to be this angry at California and Gavin Newsom, who he went wild on his social media posts, calling him new scum. I'm at a loss, Ben. So I'm gonna ask you to take over before we even show all of these, because I'm sure you're gonna want to go through them.
Yeah, so there are numerous fires in the Los Angeles area. Palisades fire, Eaton fire. There was a fire in Sunset, a Runyon Canyon fire, a flash fire in the Burbank area. And so I live somewhat near the mountains in one of those fires that I just mentioned. And so we got an urgent evacuation.
We lost your hearing, Ben. Ben, we lost you. We lost Ben with his.
Are you able to hear me now with the microphone?
Now you're back.
Yeah, we got an urgent evacuation order. It's, apologies, because I've created the mobile studio here. Things are just not all set up. But anyway, we got an urgent evacuation order around 4 a.m. in the morning. It kind of looks like those Amber Alerts that you get, and it basically said, get out now. People may know I have a 3-month-old little girl. So me and my wife packed up immediately, like literally, jumped in the car, pulled whatever we can. We prepared in the event that was going to happen the night before. So we had some stuff, although you're never fully prepared for that moment. We then, jumped in the car, drove off, and you could literally see the fires in the surrounding mountains as you're driving off. And then we drove to a family member who lives further away from the fires. And so it was a safe space. And so we got out. I'm not sure the status of my home. I think it's still there. There's not a lot of news coming from that town. It's a smaller town. But I think it's still there. But you're processing all of these emotions, you're dealing with all of these things, and you then see Donald Trump start making posts. This is Newsom's fault. Something about Newsom cares about smelt over people's lives, and how if he just listened to me, this wouldn't have happened. This is all his fault. And then I see other MAGA people saying, oh, this is because of DEI and ESG, and it's the fault of DEI. And then you have Don Jr. saying DEI should just be called die because that's what they do. And it's like, we're trying to escape with our lives right now. And in the midst of just trying to like literally escape with our lives, that's the messaging that they're putting out. And it's a critical time when government needs to do its work and actually function, not like trolls, but get things done. And so while you have people like Governor Newsom or like Mayor Karen Bass in LA, while they're marshaling the resources, directing where things go, they're in the game. They're focused on that. So it's fairly easy, if you're a bad faith actor, to attack people when they're focusing on saving lives and putting resources in place, because their goal isn't to engage in some online troll battle. Their goal is to try to help deal with a crisis, a catastrophe that's taking place. And there was once a time in our country where when there was a catastrophe, whether it was a natural disaster, be it horrific fires or frigid temperatures or earthquakes or hurricanes or tsunamis, whatever it is, we would come together, united we would stand, one people in this nation, and we would work together, and not just natural disasters. If there was a terrorist attack or whatever, we would come together, try to solve the problem. Sure, maybe later you could have commissions that investigate these things, as we did with the 9/11 Commission. But the first instinct after 9/11, for example, was not, this is the Republicans' fault, this is George W. Bush's fault, this is the fault of, all right-wing people, they're working with the terrorists. That's just not, that was never what the instinct was. It was, we come together as a nation and we try to deal with catastrophes together and support each other. And if you think about like when people are predatory and they prey on vulnerable people, who are the types of people who they often prey on? Oftentimes it's elderly and people who just suffer from disasters, because when you're feeling like you may have just lost your home, or you lost your home, or you're suffering and you're feeling catastrophe, you're very vulnerable. And if you're a bad faith actor, it's easy to prey on the minds of vulnerable people who are suffering, who are looking for answers, who are trying to find resources. And you can infect their minds easily by saying, ha, 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 it's their fault. DEI did this to you. It's the black mayor who did this to you. It's the fact that the women who work at the fire department, there are 3 women and they may not be all straight. And they're the ones who did this to you. This is the Democrats' fault. And I'm not just uniquely pointing out what I'm going through. This is every single catastrophe that happens. This is their playbook, Michael. The hurricanes that ravaged the East Coast. Immediately, they said that FEMA was not there. They blamed Joe Biden. They blamed the migrants for taking the resources. And it's a lie. One of the things that they put out here is that there's the Democrats stop the water from getting to the locations. It's Democrats shut off water, or this is the Democrats' fault.
Ben, what is that about? Because
here's the thing. The fact that you have to ask that question shows you the effect. It's about nothing. It's a lie. It's absolutely a lie.
Because he went into this whole dissertation for a moment. It was a rambling dissertation at best about smelt, which you brought up before. And I'm sure many of our brigaders right now are saying, what the hell is smelt? So you understand. Here, let's look at this. Mike Lee responds to the LA fires, attacking California Democrats and echoing Trump's talking points about protections for Delta smelt playing a role. A smelt, by the way, just so you understand, it's a family of small fish. And it's small fish that are found in both the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean, right? Yeah, it's I think the generic name for it is Osmeridae. They're small fish, and he's talking about that Democrats are trying to prevent the extinction of these small fish, and therefore, instead of having water in California, that they're putting all the water back into the ocean. And I'm saying to myself, I'm so confused. I'm really super confused. Then they go on to say that, Governor Newsom has gone ahead and that there's no water that exists now in the hydrants and so on. And that's just not true. And I'm so angered at the fact that I don't know who this man is anymore. I really don't. I understand if you want to turn around and you want to say the United States, is spending too much money on supporting Ukraine. If that's your position, not mine, but I could understand that. I could understand that you say that the United States should use some of its money and resources within which to fix our immigration and the migrant problem and send some people. I get that too. Some of it is my position, some isn't. But what I don't understand is when you're talking about water being taken away from citizens in California and pumped back into the Pacific, and it's all about protecting smelt. I'm just confused, and I'm wondering who the hell is around him right now that's feeding him this bullshit? Because I promise you, this isn't something that he thought of. This is something he heard from someone. He thought it was great. It makes the issue clearer for some people to understand and to put blame on somebody else. It's always, as Ben was saying before, it is always somebody else's fault. I want to remind people that in 2020, because Donald's talking about how he would do things different. That's fine. Anything that would prevent citizens, regardless, again, Republican, Democrat, Independent, from having their homes, their memories, their cherished, irreplaceable items burnt up in a fire, this wildfire that's ravaging right now Los Angeles County. I'm all for it. But I want to remind people in 2020, 4.1 million acres burned in Los Angeles. And I'm not really sure that I can turn around and say that he did anything within which to resolve the issue. In fact, he didn't even want to send FEMA money there. He didn't want to send any government assistance money simply because California, they're not his people. And that's a terrible, terrible thing, not just to say, but a terrible way to even think.
Like, I just want you all to think about it. So, and I'm not trying to make this about me, because Trump does this to everybody out there. Like, this is how he attacks marginalized communities every day. This is how he attacks immigrants every day. This is how he attacks women every day. This is, you name it. This is what he does. But you know, I'm feverishly checking social media and searching my town name to try to get photos of it, because you know, I'm trying to see, is my house there? Are people that I know okay? And I'm trying to get information, right? And unfortunately, X or Twitter is still one of those places that you go to check, because it has a community of people, you know, who an increasingly corrosive community. But anyway, you go there, and what gets amplified? Elon has totally changed the algorithm to push this horrible stuff. And it's him saying things like they prioritized DEI over saving lives and homes. And again, they're spreading false information that the mayor cut $17 million in funding when they're looking at a certain portion of the budget allocation. In fact, the budget for firefighting increased by about $50 million year over year. Actually, more resources were put into it. But the story that spreads is the incorrect story and the lie, based on a lack of understanding about the budgetary process, which is more complex than a tweet where you can just lie. Or, Cohen, I'm looking at it and I see the main post out there. One of the main posts is from Alex Jones, who defamed the parents who lost their children in school shootings. And he called the dead kids crisis actors and said it was all made up. And he lost a defamation verdict. And now he's trying to basically run and hide from that verdict. But this is the post: destroyed by design. Los Angeles fires are part of a larger globalist plot to wage economic warfare and deindustrialize the United States before triggering total collapse. Obviously, that's a total lie. That is a dangerous conspiracy theory, but Elon Musk reposts it and says true. And that's
thank God Elon Musk said truth. I mean, if Elon Musk says it's true, it's got to be true, right? And then you get people like Jesse Waters and even members of Congress turning around, and while they're not as far off the reservation,
they are.
But some of them are saying things that are so misleading, and I'm lost. I don't. Everything isn't political. You know, when we're as a country, we're experiencing what's going on with this wildfire in California, and you have a firefighter that's there helping to protect your home and the neighborhood and so on. Do you ask him, I'm sorry, before you spray that water on my house in order so that it doesn't burn up from the heat and so on, can you tell me, are you a Republican or are you a Democrat? So you're stuck in your car and you can't move because there's vehicles blocking the way and there's fire on both sides, and you're afraid that your car is going to get so hot it's going to explode. All right, do you turn around as the guy's going to be taking one of these tractors and he's pushing cars out of the way? Do you ask him if he's Republican or Democrat? Do you really care during a crisis what party affiliation somebody is? But they're making these overt statements, Ben. It's so troubling to me. At the end of the day, during crises, That's when Americans support Americans. And we did that for Florida. Remember, Sanibel Island was completely destroyed, parts of Florida. Then you had Texas, you had North Carolina, you had, I think it was in Kentucky, where they were having hurricanes and tornadoes, and whole towns were completely decimated. Did you turn around ever? Anybody here? Did you turn around and did you say, well, you know what? Fuck them. They're Republicans. It's God's wrath coming down upon them. And then you get Elon Musk going, that's true. Give me a break already. This isn't funny. It's not. There's nothing funny about any of this.
Cohen, I'll share with you.
I'm sorry. I know it's not really what the show here is all about, but the politicization of this disaster.
Recent car accident was.
Cohen, I'll share this with you, and it's a bit personal, but I'll share it with you and the Brigaders. So it was yesterday. It was last night. My wife asked me. She said she texted me, and she goes, Ben, how do I defend this? And I looked at what she sent me, and it was the tweet from Elon Musk and tweets about the water, Gavin Newsom turning off the water, and tweets about Karen Bass cutting the funding for firefighters. And she was asking me last night, how do I defend this? And the fact that she has to ask me how to defend, there's nothing to I just want to make sure that she's okay. And I want to make sure my 3-month-old daughter is okay. And I want to make sure that my family and friends and people who I know in LA are okay. Not have to even think about how do I defend some politicization, some wedge issue about Democrats are bad. But even she was getting deluged with that information, which is like, because, her friends know that the type of work that I do. And so they were saying, what's going on? Were somehow you responsible for the implication was like, are Democrats responsible for this? And, and then at that time too, Michael, I'm not thinking, oh my gosh, I need to go into the budget and debunk this. That's not where my mind's at. My mind is trying to process my emotions of what's gone on. I'm thinking to myself, am I gonna have a house? And then I think to myself, it doesn't matter. I mean, my family's healthy. That's most important.
How the puppies?
My puppies are here. They're good. They're good. But then I think to myself, I have so many friends here who have lost homes, and then there's feelings of guilt. They've lost their home. I haven't lost my home. There's so much processing.
Sure.
And you're getting hit with this information that's just lies. And so what I told her, is just take a beat. But the problem is when you take a beat and you get the accurate data, they've already spent 10, 100 or 20, 50, 100 new lies out there. And it's something that needs to be grappled with, because whether it's Democrats or just intelligent people or people who care about facts, you want to fact check things. You don't just want to go out and just start saying crap and say true, do. I mean, it's very easy to lie about things and make things up and go, hey,
whatever the reason is, Trump has a real issue with Gavin Newsom. Was it because he was going to run against him? He wanted to run against him. He hates California because they're liberal, even though there's, I don't know, but I like where he said one of the best and most beautiful parts of the United States of America is burning down to the ground. It's ashes, and Gavin Newsom should resign. This is all his fault. That's a hell of a statement for somebody to make. First and foremost, it's not true. This is not the governor's fault any more than it's Ron DeSanctimonious's fault that Florida got hit with those hurricanes that ended up knocking out one town after another, decimating, for example, Sanibel Island. And I'm just shocked, and I'm appalled, and I can't believe I can't believe that one, he's making these statements, and two, that the people around him aren't stopping him from making these statements. I mean, for God's sakes, he's what, 79 years old. The name calling, the lack of empathy when fellow Americans. What about the Californians whose homes were wrecked, destroyed, and so on, that are actually Republican and voted for Trump? What about them? Is he not even thinking it doesn't make a difference? Group them all in together because they're California? I'm just, again, I'm appalled. This isn't supposed to be politicized. I see a lot of
words. I see a lot of the Trump supporters out here who know better, but they go and say, "Oh, it's Karen Bass's fault. Oh, it's Newsom's." They repeat it. They internalize it. They repeat that stuff, and they say it over and over again. And and Democrats are out there, at the mayoral level and at the governor's level, like working and marshaling the resources. I mean, like, let me just show you this moment right here, which this would never have happened before. At least not be normalized in American history. It's this clip of Gavin Newsom. I want to play it, and then I want to share with you my thoughts. Here, let's play it.
Even asked this question, but the president-elect chose to attack you, blame you for this.
One can't even respond to it. I mean, people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I know what I want to say. I won't. I stood next to a president of the United States of America today, and I was proud to be with Joe Biden. And he had the backs of every single person in this community. He didn't play politics, didn't try to divide any of us.
Finally, your message.
Right. Anderson Cooper says, "I hate to have to even ask the question," but then asks the question and says, "Donald Trump is attacking you and blaming you for this," as Newsom's there trying to get out accurate info. And what Trump and these MAGAs are doing by this is they're causing harm in emergency response. They're preventing people from accessing medical supplies, emergency resources. We saw that just 2-3 months ago with the hurricanes on the East Coast, where they were lying and saying FEMA doesn't have the resources. FEMA's giving it to migrants. The illegal aliens are taking all of your resources. And they would repeat it over and over again. And it would just become part of the both sidesism. It would be one side, and then the other side would be the truth. But it would become a politicized thing.
Yeah, Ben, look, I understand that we always have trolls on this show. And I'm discouraged that even if you are MAGA, even if you are really deep red MAGA and you're so pro-Trump that, that no matter what he says, you acknowledge, but when you turn around and you say that Trump never said that, he never called Gavin Newsom new scum, didn't blame it on him, didn't talk about the smelt and the water being taken away. We showed you, all right? We showed you 5 posts that came from his Donald J. Trump social media, right? The Truth Social post. We show them, these are his words. My friend, I want you to wake up and learn to read. Learn to read. Here, let's just leave this up for a quick second. Governor Gavin Newsom refused to sign the water restoration declaration put before him that would have allowed millions of gallons of water from excess rain and snow melt from the north to flow daily into many parts of California, including the areas that are currently burning in a virtual apocalyptic way. I mean, let me just say to you, if you cannot read, do me a favor, let us know. I will get on a phone with you and I will read to you so that you understand that this is not one thing you're not going to ever get from a Midas Network property, whether it's this Political Beatdown show, my Mea Culpa podcast, my Michael Cohen show on my YouTube channel, or the Meiselas brothers, a legal F, or you're not going to get bullshit. You're not going to get lies. You're getting facts. And we keep trying to stress that over and over and over again because you're not getting that with mainstream media. Certainly not anymore. You're not getting it even with cable news channels anymore. Okay? You need to come to stations like Midas Network, like this Midas Touch Network, where we only give you facts. And how do you know that it's facts? Because it is backed up by documentary evidence. It's backed up by posts from your fearless leader. My hope, and I know I sound stupid here, I do know it, when I'm going to say I was actually hopeful that Trump was preparing for his inaugural speech, one that is not divisive, one that would somehow unify our country, unify the citizenry so that Republicans and Democrats aren't literally at odds with one another like they were during the Civil War. We are right now in such a bad place as a country, divided like we haven't been since the Civil War. My hope was that he was going to reach out to both sides of the aisle and say, I really want to see great things happen for this country. Now, you may not like the policies that I'm going to try to implement in order to get there, but give me a chance. I was elected, so just something that wouldn't be so divisive. It was going to be unifying. When you turn around and you listen to him talking about just California now and turning around and throwing blame at Governor Newsom and with lack of any empathy for what the people of California, the citizens of California are going through, I'm appalled. I can't believe that. I can't believe that this is him.
Well, I can believe it, but here we are. Not just dividing our country, but dividing the world, dividing our allies, frankly, isolating us, perhaps uniting our allies against us, and then having our enemies laugh at us before even day one. When we come back, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about one of the things that we've learned at the Midas Touch Network from our contacts with some of the reporters in Copenhagen is that Greenland stunt that Don Jr. pulled was actually the Trumps bribing homeless and socially disadvantaged people outside of a hotel to pretend they were Trump supporters as part of a plan for Donald Trump to conquer Greenland. You have the European Union talking about its common defense agreement against the United States, invoking a common defense agreement to marshal its military against America because of America's threats against the sovereignty of European countries. It's a sick thing. It's a sad thing to see. We're going to talk about that and more. I want to remind everybody to subscribe to Michael Cohen's YouTube channel at The Michael Cohen Show. Michael Cohen gives some great daily hot takes there. Patreon.com/Political Beatdown is the place where we hold our Zoom meetings. If you want to meet Michael and myself, we held one earlier this week before the fires hit, and it was great to.
I think we should do it again on Tuesday, Ben.
Yeah,
there's too much going on.
I want to see where I am, but yeah, let's tentatively say next week. And everybody, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel here as well, and the Mea Culpa podcast, Mea Culpa Blue, when you search it on audio podcast, the blue one. So we'll be right back after our first quick break. We'll talk about some international news and more.
After 30 years of marriage, I think the only arguments I've ever had with my wife are always centered around what we're going to have for dinner, especially when I want to eat healthier. And simplifying your meal routine with Cook Unity, it frees up both time and energy for your other goals. So reset your routine with Cook Unity for an endless variety of vibrant, healthy meals made by award-winning chefs. And the chefs that you see on TV and in these 5-star kitchens, they're the chefs who craft each small batch of meal with you in mind. And their products, they're just made from local, in-season ingredients and fresh, not frozen, and they're delivered directly to your door, all at a fraction of the cost and the time. So go to cookunity.com/beat or enter code BEAT before checkout for 50% off your first week. Look, let me say this. My list of my 2 favorite selections, the first one is a honey roasted pork rice bowl with bok choy and soy egg. It's freaking unbelievable. And then my staple go-to, it's the Larry and Mark Forgione spicy rigatoni a la vodka. I mean, unbelievable. And if your mouth isn't watering right now, maybe it will when I tell you that it is a mere 680 calories of deliciousness. And the variety of chef-prepared meals, it makes personalization easy, and it takes the stress out of your meal planning. So browse the menu by either protein, chef, cuisine, or your dietary need to personalize your own menu and find your new favorites. And remember this, that the menus, they're updated weekly, and new chefs are always joining the team so that your mealtime will never be boring. And there's no cleanup or meal prep. There's no planning. Your meals, they're just simply delivered, fully cooked, where you just heat them in as little as 5 minutes. With flexible, commitment-free subscriptions, you skip deliveries, pause, or you could even cancel any time. So enjoy restaurant-quality meals for a fraction of the price, with subscriptions starting as low as $11 a meal. You hear that? $11 a meal. So reset your routine with convenient, mouth-watering meals crafted with local ingredients by award-winning chefs. Go right now to cookunity.com/beat or enter code BEAT before checkout for 50% off your first week. That's 50% off your first week by using code BEAT or going to Cookunity, that's COOKUNITY.com/beat. And thank you, Cook Unity, for supporting the show. When your car breaks down, you take it to a mechanic with no hesitation. I mean, you need it, and it's not something most guys can fix themselves. Look, I know I can't, and men should think the exact same way about ED. But the reality is, you might be hesitant to seek help. Well, thankfully, through HIMS, you can get access to personalized ED treatment without ever stepping outside your door. HIMS is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort, get a load of that, of your own couch. HIMS provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable Hardmints and Viagra and Cialis and their generics for up to 95% cheaper. You hear that? 95% cheaper. The process, it's also 100% online, so that there's no need for uncomfortable doctor visits. What you do is you just answer a series of questions on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option. And if prescribed, your medication, well, it ships directly to you for free. And there's no insurance needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. Now, with hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, HIMS can help you find the ED option that works best for you. So start your free online visit today at hims.com/beat. That's HIMS.com/beat for your personalized ED treatment options. Again, that's hims.com/beat. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required, and price varies based on product and subscription plan.
That's right. You show up for the politics and you get Michael Cohen doing some erectile dysfunction ads. There you go, folks. You get it all. You get it all here on you get it all here on Political Beatdown. Where do we transition to after that? What I just said there. Oh, let me show you this clip of Don Jr. Let's play it.
Truly mind-blowing. Just people lined up, people wearing MAGA hats, excited for the visit. Just had an incredible experience there.
I can't. How did they get a MAGA hat in Greenland? I'm just curious. I guess you get it on Amazon. They drop it off. Not exactly the easiest place to get to in the world.
These days you can order anything.
You can. You know, this kind of...
It was not easy to get to, but it was a...
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, there's a reverb, so I'm missing you. But
yeah, it's not easy, imagine, to get to. You got onto Daddy's 757 and you flew straight in. I mean, yeah, it takes time to get there, but talk about, sitting there with Sean Hannity. Yeah, you know what you could also buy on Amazon? You could buy the Donald J. Trump Jr. bucket full of bullshit. All right. By the way, I read an article, and I haven't been able to confirm it, but I read an article that it was confirmed by legitimate news sources that the young kid that Don Jr. had met there, the one that was wearing he had the beard but no mustache, the whole bit, that he's a felon, that he's a drug dealer. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. So one of the things that we reported on as well, and this was from a report back in Copenhagen in Denmark, was that the face of MAGA in Greenland, because Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark, was a known drug trafficker in the area who was convicted. But one of the things that, and Hannity kind of touched upon it, like accidentally outing Don Jr. right there. But according to DR, one of Denmark's main news sources, Trump's team in Greenland bribed homeless and socially disadvantaged people with hotel dinners to play Trump supporters. It goes on to talk about how the Greenlanders who were wearing those red MAGA hats and were at that location, and Donald Trump even called in Nuuk, which is the capital of Greenland. These were kind of individuals who were known to be kind of disadvantaged there, and who would kind of be outside of the fancy hotels and would be kind of asking people for food. And they were basically, according to this article, bribed with food and, a free meal basically to show up and pretend to be Trump supporters there. I'll show you some of these other.
What do you think is the likelihood, Ben, that Don Jr. put onto the 757 a box full of Make America Great Again hats?
Well, that's what the article was saying, that Don Jr. was the one. I mean, to answer Hannity's question, how those people got the hats, it was Don Jr.
Don gave them to them.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, what's the point? To like, yeah, we brought them. They wanted them. We found out, this guy who was helping us to set this thing up. Why lie about something that is so fucking obvious, right? They did not buy it from the website, that they did not all, turn around. I mean, I just don't understand it. There's no reason for it. That's the whole thing. You're going to lie about something important, lie about something that has some fact to it, not one that anybody can see through. You don't even have to, know shit in order to understand that Don Jr. brought a box full of MAGA hats, probably signed by somebody, who's able to do Donald's signature, as so many of them were done. And, they handed them out. I mean, it's just that simple.
Well, look, whenever we cover this, though, it's important to, I think, go back to my WMD thesis, weapon of mass distraction. And so why do they do these things? To create these circus so that Americans don't ask the questions, which is, whoa. I didn't really know we're going to be invading Canada and we're attacking Denmark. What about all of the things that happened in the campaign? And the more Trump can distract from the fact that all of the promises were fraud and lies or things that weren't accurate, then he can try to keep dragging his base along, hoping that there will be liberal outrage. Oh, you're going to invade? Do not invade, blah, blah. But where I think we always have to focus on, and here, this is a meme that we created at the Midas Touch network with voters saying, can we get lower prices? And Trump goes, best I can do is invade Canada. And for those listening on audio, it's a meme from that reality show involving the pawnbrokers, the pawns. I think it's called Pawn Stars.
It's called Pawn Stars. Yeah.
It's Pawn Stars. And so I think you always have to bring it back to that, because this is all Donald Trump not going to be able to lower prices. He's not going to be able to make housing affordable. So, he posts things like this. And by the way, I think we need to take it very seriously. He's threatening the sovereignty of nations. And when he makes posts like this, oh, Canada, and shows America conquering Canada, and then you have MAGA Republicans like this guy, Brandon Gill. I'm not going to play his video, but he goes, Trump is bringing us into the golden age of America. This is the new manifest destiny. Reacquiring the Panama Canal, acquiring Greenland, renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. This is the light of America expanding. And then on Fox, Ainsley Earhart goes, for Greenland, it would make sense that we have it for military purposes. Like, you're talking about conquering NATO allies? What the hell are you talking about?
The problem is they have no idea what they're talking about. That's the worst part. All they're doing, Ben, is going ahead and parroting or trying to make sense as best as they can of Trump's statement and to use it. So if he turned around and he said that the earth is flat, they would turn around and they would say, well, many scientists have turned around and acknowledged what Trump is saying, that the earth is flat. And then you're like, wait, stop. Just stop. First of all, acquiring is not conquering. It's like a completely different adjective altogether, or an adverb.
Well, if what they would say, they would basically, what Trump actually meant by saying the earth is flat. Have you ever looked at the photos of how they lay out the galaxies in the universe, and you see how they do a spread distribution of the galaxies in the universe? And you ever see that photograph with the Big Bang, and it's like a flat stream? What Donald Trump was really trying to do was connected to the metaphysical, the origins of who we are. And the Democrats are too stupid to really understand. And actually, the Democrats are to blame for trying to poison us with all of these woke lies about, you see what I did there, though, so everyone sees? Like, what I said was just absolutely ridiculous. Did it sound like I was somewhat smart if you put it in a way?
Well, you see, circle is a shape, and that shape of a circle is actually flat. If you look at it, it doesn't make a difference that it's arched. That arch is actually just it's an angled flatness. So when I say that it's flat, this is what they do. It is, and the worst part about it is that these MAGA morons, and you all know who they are. It's so simple to find them in a crowd. One, they're wearing the ugly red hat to cover the lobotomy scar. But number two, they're the ones with the 3 teeth and the 4 brain cells that is sitting there and telling you that right now, Donald Trump is president, that Joe Biden has never been president. Everything has been done by Donald Trump. And so my question then to them, I would like to ask, the number of people that are still saying that Trump is really the true president right now. Well, then what's going on in California when he's blaming Joe Biden? I thought that you just said that Donald Trump is the actual president right now. I'm just blown. There is no way to rationalize or validate what they're doing and what they're saying right now.
which
no
is
more than that you can rationalize or validate their arguments regarding the Judge Merchan decision.
So let me not just be descriptive. Let me be prescriptive. Okay, Ben, you identify the problem with this asymmetrical information warfare taking place. So what do we do? Look, I don't think Democrats during a time of disaster should start being trolls. Okay, so I'm not suggesting that when a disaster occurs, Democrats need to spew disinformation about anything to fight, it's a horrible example, but fight fire with fire during a fire. I don't, or disinformation fire with a fire, or even to have to defend things during the crisis itself, because I don't think that we should sacrifice our fundamental principles and values and the fact that we need to still do the job. But I think every other day, at every single moment, there is enough truth out there to repeat over and over again about what Trump and MAGA are doing and how they represent the billionaires and oligarchs and how they're screwing people over. I mean, here, the one today is Elon Musk already admitting that Doge is not going to do what Doge said. The whole thing, Doge will cut $2 trillion, right? That was the promise. The promise was Doge will cut $2 trillion. We've got it figured out. And you all remember all the videos every Republican went on. We'll figure out. Well, now Elon Musk is saying they won't be able to do it. Probably won't be able to even do half that amount. And the reality is they're not going to do any of it at all. Elon's going to likely use Doge, in my opinion, to help Elon, to help Tesla, to help his businesses, and to be a tool simply for Trump's oligarch friends to get what they want in or out of specific pieces of legislation. So what you just have to repeat over and over again is the truth. And you got to say it in ways that resonate with people. The same way Trump lied and said migrants are eating your cats and dogs, go and say the billionaires and the oligarchs are eating your lunch. They're stealing your checks. They're taking your money. They're stealing your home. They're keeping you out of housing. They're eating up all of the housing market so that they can bundle it and sell it to more billionaires. They're the ones who are keeping you out. They are the ones who are increasing their salaries by hundreds of percentage points and not allowing you to have a living wage. The reason why you work 2 jobs or 3 jobs, Republicans, MAGA, they're the ones doing this to you. And you do that every single day. And when Donald Trump does his newest distraction, when he's selling, inauguration NFTs and all of this stupid stuff. Oh, look, we call him. You want to call him out? Call him out. But always this gold-plated watches and electoral map sneakers that they're selling. Gold-plated watches and electoral. But when he does this stuff, always remind people, okay, cool, but how is that lowering prices? How is that helping you find affordable housing? How is that helping you with education? How is that helping you with your health? And you repeat that over and over again because it isn't. And there's a way, I think, to neutralize, because again, that WMD, weapon of mass distraction, pop, 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 put all of these things out there. And then, what do we do? Do we focus on this? We focus on this. Oh my God. And then what you end up just doing, and this is, look, we all take responsibility for this, but we have to fix it. What you end up doing is you end up just basically reporting that, look at this idiotic thing that Trump did today. Look at that idiotic thing that he did. Here's a new idiotic thing. And it's whack-a-mole with a weapon of mass destruction. Don't play whack-a-mole with the WMD. You have to focus your messaging on the issues that clearly matter to American people, which are their families, their homes, their health, their education, their ability to buy things. And Trump is the reason for their pain. So just let them know that. 2-finger salute, Michael Cohen. We forgot to do the 2-finger salute last time.
Yeah, so the 2-finger salute has to go to every single one of these maggot morons. And I'm going to say it again. Every one of these assholes, these maggot morons who are politicizing this disaster that is going on in Los Angeles. I am so offended offended. I'm so offended as an American that this is actually going on during a time when we're supposed to put aside politics and be there for one another. Because at the end of the day, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, you're an American. And to turn around and to politicize this, and to then turn around and say, oh, this is all about Gavin Newsom and that he should resign. Every Democrat, every Republican thinks that every Democrat should resign when something goes wrong, but not when the Republicans do bad things. When you got, whether it's Matt Gaetz, or look at what it took, for example, to get George Santos, out of Congress. So to each and every one of these assholes, whether they're members of Congress, to the MAGA morons that are sitting there politicizing this natural disaster, this catastrophe that is destroying so much property and lives of people, fuck you all.
Michael Cohen, good two-finger salute, making up for the lack of a two-finger salute on the last one. Everybody, subscribe to Mea Culpa, the audio podcast. Wherever you get your audio podcast, just search Mea Culpa.
By the way, it's so good. And even if you just listen to the introduction at the very end, the Mea Culpa, you will learn so much. You will learn so much from those 20 minutes right there, forgetting about the additional 50 or so minutes with my conversations, like with Michael Smerconish or with Rick Wilson or with Ben Stiller. I mean, it makes no difference. We have so many great guests on there. So go there and subscribe right now.
Check that out. Also, patreon.com/political beatdown. Michael Cohen and I will figure out a way when we're going to do the next Zoom meeting. I just need to figure out where I will be. But once we figure that out, we'll schedule that. Subscribe to Michael Cohen's YouTube channel at The Michael Cohen Show. You just search it on YouTube. Same way, it's free to subscribe to this YouTube channel. You click it. Also, if you subscribe to the
like 5,000 subscribers shy of the first part of the journey, which is to have 250,000 subscribers. So subscribe, watch, and most importantly, share it with a friend, because it's all predicated on facts. It's all truth.
There's two things that you do when you subscribe, and people may not realize this. First, you subscribe, but then you turn notifications on. So you turn the notification on for our YouTube channel and Michael Cohen's channel. This way, when a new video drops, you get it right away. And so you don't have to guess, when am I going to get the video? When's it coming? You just get it. And so you just put the notification.
I love that voice. I love that voice that you do. Can you do it again? You don't have to worry about when you're getting the notifications. You went right into that voice. It was great.
What you talking about?
Quite frankly, what you need to do is turn the notifications on.
That's my voice. I think I'm doing a shtick. That's who I am.
I thought you were doing
Thank you, Michael Cohen. I'll see you later, Michael Cohen. Everybody, this has been a great one. Everybody,
doing the voice.
What are you talking about? All right, everybody, it's been a wonderful.
Yes, and by the way, leave a comment too on the YouTube channel. You can leave a comment. I actually respond to those comments as well. So subscribe. As Ben said, what you want to do is you want to put on the notifications, and also leave a comment.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you later. See you later, everybody.
We love you, Ben. I'm glad you're all right. You, the family, and the puppies.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your wishes as well. I appreciate it.
Boom.